Is it possible to start wholesale from home? Because there's a lot of people who, they might watch your videos and they might be thinking to themselves like, well, you know, lucky for them, they've got a huge warehouse the size of, Marshall's. I have a little 600 square foot apartment, and I've only got $5,000 or $10,000 in the bank. Maybe I've got just enough to kind of get this going and have a little room and wiggle room. Like I don't have enough money for a warehouse or space. Is it possible? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Here's the thing. I actually envy you for this person for not having a warehouse. Like having a warehouse, it brings a lot of problems.
It's a lot of building.
Right. Like, I mean, first off, it's expensive. There's a lot of expenses that go into it. And then it's, you just have to, you're always having to be involved in something. Whereas if you're working from home, like you only really have to be involved with yourself, or like, I would still be involved with this Yahoo, but yeah, I mean, we actually suggest go through prep centers. Those just weren't an option when we started. And at that point we had already had thousands and thousands of dollars in equipment and all the stuff we needed.
Is a warehouse necessary? Yes or no?
Absolutely not. For what it's worth, if we were started over tomorrow, like if I restarted our entire business tomorrow, I would not have a warehouse at all. But here's the thing. We didn't know that prep centers existed back whenever we really got started. And we already had infrastructure. Like we already had forklifts. We already had everything we need to be able to operate a warehouse. So it's like now it makes sense for us. But as far as doing it, you don't have to have any of that. Like I would probably have our VA team and our buying team. So I mean, I would still have a little office, but that's just because we're trying to scale to $10-20 million. So absolutely not. I think anybody can do this from anywhere and grow it to grow it as big as they want to without having a warehouse or something to tie them down.
Yeah, so when instead, like, for us, we receive our products here at our warehouse and we bubble wrap them, we polybag them, we get them in compliance with the FBA Fulfillment by Amazon program, which is what we use exclusively. So we send the products to Amazon's warehouse, and then when the end user buys them, they're shipped to them. So we do all what we call prepping here. Well, a prep center is you'd have it sent from the manufacturer rather than to your house, or here it would go to the prep center. Now the prep center charges you a fee, generally a per item fee or something. They have different structures, but they charge you a fee to get that product in compliance with FBA inbound protocol, and then they ship it into the FBA fulfillment centers for you. So you literally don't even have to touch, polybag, bubble wrap, any of these things that Dan and I have done way too many times to count over the years. You would never even have to do that. And that's what the point Dan was making when he says he envies this, because these opportunities didn't exist. If you wanted to scale in hours, that meant getting a warehouse, getting employees, you getting, this set up. So it is a bit enviable. I'm not going to lie.
When do you reorder? So let's just say, for example, you buy, I don't know, maybe AirPods, right? Obviously, you're probably not going to wholesale those, but I don't know, some type of electrical item or whatever. You've created a wholesale deal, right? With a brand, you've got it under order, and maybe you buy 500 and now you're running out. What is running out to you? Like, when do you reorder? What's the mindset?
Okay, so this one's we generally target a month's supply of a product. Like we try not to carry much more than that, because it's not very cash efficient, right? Like carrying a bunch of inventory that you don't expect to sell for 6 months, just not very efficient for your cash flow. So, and that's the other beauty of wholesale is I don't have to order a ton. Like I can just order a month's worth and then place a reorder as I'm running out. So what we tend to try to do is we may run out of our first or second reorder, because we try to establish lead times for those companies, like how long it takes them to ship that product. Yep. And once we have that, once we understand that, it's pretty easy. It's just it's just literally a math calculation of, let's say I'm selling two units a day or 60 units a month, and they have a 10-day lead time like that. When all right, I break myself here.
Well, let me interrupt you.
All right, run me, Eric.
No, I'm not going to correct you, because I don't know what the number actual answer is, but I do know.
I can scratch it out.
You may have glazed over, that something that us talking is easy to shortcut to. But it's not a guessing game. It's not a mindset at all. Like I said, it comes down to a simple math equation, and Amazon provides you all that data. It tells you there's reports 2 clicks away from this ASIN sold. You had the buy box percentage this amount of time. You sold this many units over that time. It's literally just multiplying that percentage by that time, and it tells you this is how many you would have sold if you were the only seller of the month. You make your orders from that. It's literally, like Dan says, it becomes the simplicity of it is what becomes the necessity to work ourselves out of the business, that so that we can empower employees to this kind of stuff or outsource it. And that's the point, is that making it paint by numbers, and it does. It gives you all that information, and even their first order. I mean, the workshop will show you how we estimate our first order based on common tools that are available to everybody. And so it's not even a guess your first time. It's a very, very educated guess. And then from there, you get actual data. Once you've sold through it, Amazon will tell you through a series of reports that exactly how many you sold, how many you could have sold, and everything. And it's brilliant in its simplicity, but it's very complex in terms of, like, it's great that you get that number that seems very complicated, but it's a very simple click here, click here, and put the numbers in, and boom, and it tells you. It's, and then, like Dan says, then it's just a matter of adding in your lead time. If this company gets your product to you normally in 5 days, you add that on 10 days, whatever it is. It's really simple and beautiful.
In my example, it was 10 days lead time, and we would reorder at 20 units.
Oh, there you are.
How do you and Amazon decide on how much inventory they will take? So are there limitations in terms of, like, because I've heard this before, that like you can only send in a certain amount of items of a SKU, I thought, or maybe I'm wrong with that. Can you send in like 50,000?
I mean, it's only on slow selling SKUs. Like, the only limitations that exist are on slow selling SKUs. So, for us, we don't send it. Like, here's the thing is, I try to send in 30 days worth of inventory. Like, I don't like paying extra fees and stuff like that. So if I can send in 30 days worth of inventory, like that's our target. Our average turn rate's about 45 days. So we're really close to hitting it on all cylinders there. As far as that goes, so imagine that, like, 45 days is our average inventory across the board.
I know with private label, if you run out of stock, there could be some negative consequences. If you run out of stock, are there any negative consequences besides obviously the monetary standpoint? Like,
I mean, it factors in. Nobody really knows how much it factors in, but it definitely is a factor in the buy
box, right?
But it's not like private label though. It's completely detrimental in private label, because if there's nobody selling the product, that sales rank plummets. If we're out of the equation, there's still people that sales rank still maintaining. So you may have some negative relationships with your vendor. They may not like to see you go out of stock or find out that you've been out of stock, or some small, but it's detrimental. It's really bad for private label.
It's crushing. It's crushing.
With wholesale, everything stays constant. You're just not making money, which is not a good place to be anyway. That's deflating enough.
So what happens, guys, when you click a button, right? Let's just say you've already put together the relationship with a brand and you've negotiated a deal. Maybe you have 1,000, 1,500 units coming into the warehouse. What's the process from it hitting your warehouse? Like, is there like a truck that comes with a pallet and then they just like move it into your warehouse? Like, how does it work? Like, when it gets delivered, and what's the process for getting it out the door?
I mean, it's funny. Like, it's evolved. That's the thing is, you start differently than where we're at now. When we first started, it was the 95% of the stuff we bought came in, just on UPS. Like, they would bring it, and it'd be like 1 or 2 boxes, drop it off, and that'd be our whole order, and we just process it and get it to Amazon. As far as placing an order, I mean, general turnaround time, like 99. I mean, I always say 99% because I hate speaking indefinites, but 99% of the products we carry are domestic. So it's, whenever we're placing an order, it's 2 days product gets shipped to us, or
Really?
if you were, it'd go to a fulfillment center, and then they receive it in 2 days, and it's off to Amazon.
I know that private label sellers, they'll order their item from China or whatever, and they'll have the Chinese manufacturer actually send it directly to Amazon FBA. Is that possible to set that up with your model? Why do things have to hit your warehouse?
100% possible. Like, we actually do it with certain lines where it has prohibitive shipping or something like that. Like, we generally do it, but when it's doesn't need to come to our warehouse. But like a lot of products we carry require prep and things like that. So we have an in-house team that can prep the products.
And that's what a third-party fulfillment service would do for you. I mean, if it required poly bagging or bubble wrapping or opaque bagging or any of that kind of prep, they would do that, and that's what we do in house.
And Amazon's actually making it easier to go direct. Like for items without prep requirements and stuff like that. Like they actually have like an Amazon direct portal now that you can use your vendors to start working to help your vendors work with.
People always want to know like what the profit margins are, because every time I'll put like a number in the title, everyone's always like, that's gross, that's gross. And it typically is usually gross.
Right.
I'm not sure, I don't want to ask you too personal of questions, but what are your average, or maybe wholesalers in general, what's an average profit margin that you're typically looking for? Because a lot of people who are watching are probably thrifters or maybe retail arbitrage. They're used to ridiculous ROI, sometimes a couple 100% ROI. What's a normal ROI for wholesale, and what can people realistically expect?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. And actually asking that question reminded me of one of the other ways that got me confident about getting into this course. Like I said, I'm kind of a big Excel spreadsheet guy. So for those of you out there who are Excel spreadsheet people as well, I will give you some numbers to throw into a spreadsheet. So with wholesale, you're basically looking at between 20 and 30% return on investment, which translates into between 15 and 18% margin. Okay, but the ROI is just a small piece of the puzzle, because what really happens is if you have $1,000, let's say you get a wholesale account for $1,000, or you get a wholesale account and you spend $1,000 with them, okay, your return on investment is $300, right?
Okay.
So you have that $300 every single month. Okay, you don't have to go back out and find it. You don't have to, you have to maintain your relationship with the account. So now if you have 10 of those accounts, now your return on investment is $3,000 for your spend. So that's kind of the beauty of that wholesale formula, is that it's a perpetual. It's almost a passive income. It's not a passive income, but it's almost a passive income, in that if you do the things that you have to do to kind of maintain it, it's a gift that keeps on giving. You do the hard work up front, you find this account, you cultivate the relationship, you do the things you need to do to position yourself as the person that they need to sell to, and then you get to continually reap those rewards.
That's really interesting. So I'm actually trying to wrap my mind around it, because I know a lot of us thrifters and eBay sellers and folks going to garage sales, we always think of like ROI and like profit margin as like the holy grail. But that's because our time is so tightly woven into it. So what you're saying is the ROI almost isn't, it's not as important, because you've got that scalability factor. Is that what you're really trying to say?
Yeah. And you know what? I don't think I finished my thought. The velocity is really the most important thing. I don't have my calculator in front of me, but this is a great point that Dan has made to me a few times, which is if you take $1,000 at 30% ROI and you reinvest it every 4 weeks, that is going to be more money than if you take $1,000 at 50% ROI and you reinvest it every 8 weeks, because it's compounding interest, and that's the idea. So the high velocity perspective also, I know thrifters, I know people that do that kind of thing, have that saying, the slow quarter and the fast dime kind of a, this is the fast dime. There are no slow quarters in wholesale. We don't like those. That's volatile. We just want fast dimes. We want all of the fast dimes.
What's the average or minimum return on investment you're looking for? Is there a specific profit margin you're looking for when you guys are going through, or now you have, I know you have people that help you out in the business, but what's their criteria for looking at a product in terms of that ROI or profit percentage?
We look for 30% ROI initially. Now we do, and this is something I would tell anybody about any business, is don't make rules that cost yourself money. Like, be flexible with your rules. Like that for us, that's a guideline. Again, 30% is a guideline for us. Like if we're looking at a $150 item and it makes 22%, I'm definitely buying that item. And I would encourage anybody else to buy that item too, because it makes financial sense. But as a general rule of thumb, it's 30% plus ROI for us is what we're looking for.
Is there a specific price range in terms of the products you're looking for? Say for example, you're looking to, I don't know, this is a new little journal I got from I forgot what his name is, but it's called the Freedom Journal. And is there like a certain price range you're looking for in terms of what you're trying to sell that product for on Amazon?
I don't source any products that are selling for less than $9.99. And I give higher priority to things that sell for more money. So my lowest velocity item that I sell is $150 each, and I sell 10 a month. You know,
Oh, wow.
And then my highest velocity item, I sell 600 a month, and that's $16.50 each. Currently, really have anything less than that.
Do you do any drop shipping or anything like that in your wholesale business?
No, I mean, honestly, I probably wouldn't do it now on Amazon. Like, there's so many with the refund. Like, there was a change with refunds, and it's just metrics are so hard. Like, it's so hard on your metrics if they are late on a shipment or anything like that. Like, I wouldn't do it personally. All of our stuff is we buy the products, then we sell it. We're physically selling it.
Yeah, and I mean we're very firm believers in the FBA program, and that goes against that. Customers buy on convenience, and it's getting more and more as Prime grows. So we have no interest in drop ship personally.